Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. The Gould scheme that crashed Wall Street. Black Friday, 1869 exposed. Hello friends, and welcome to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're traveling back to September 24th, 1869, a day that would go down in history as Black Friday, but not the kind you're thinking of. This Black Friday had nothing to do with shopping deals and everything to do with one of the most audacious attempts to manipulate the U.S. economy in our nation's history. What drives men to risk the financial stability of an entire country for personal gain? How did two ambitious speculators nearly bring the American economy to its knees? And why does this 19th century scandal still resonate in the halls of Wall Street today? Before we unravel this tale of greed, corruption, and financial chaos, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you who support our work. Your likes, comments, and shares aren't just numbers to us. They're the lifeblood of this channel. You're doing an amazing job spreading the word about these important stories, and we couldn't be more grateful. As we navigate through this tale of high-stakes finance and intrigue, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What parallels do you see between the events of 1869 and modern financial crises? How can we learn from the past to prevent such catastrophes in the future? Share your insights in the comments below. Your perspectives add invaluable depth to our discussions. Now, let's set the stage for one of the most dramatic financial crises in American history. The year is 1869, and the United States is still reeling from the Civil War. The economy is as fragile as a house of cards, with the government desperately trying to stabilize the currency and pay off war debts. The country's financial system was based on the gold standard, meaning that paper money was backed by and could be redeemed for gold. This made the price of gold crucial to the entire economy, affecting everything from the value of a farmer's crops to the stability of the dollar itself. In this volatile climate, two men saw not a crisis, but an opportunity. Enter Gould and James Fisk, the infamous duo who would soon shake Wall Street to its core. Gould, with his penetrating gaze and unkempt beard, was known as the Mephistopheles of Wall Street. A man so cunning, it was said he could squeeze blood from a stone. His brilliance was matched only by his ruthlessness, a combination that made him both feared and admired in financial circles. Fisk, in stark contrast, was a flamboyant showman nicknamed Jubilee Jim. Known for his loud suits, louder personality, and a penchant for opera singers and extravagant parties, Fisk was the public face of their operation. While Gould worked in the shadows, Fisk reveled in the limelight, distracting and charming in equal measure. Together, these two men would attempt one of the boldest financial coups in history. Their plan was as audacious as it was simple: corner the gold market and make a fortune. At the time, the U.S. was operating under a system where paper currency could be redeemed for gold. The price of gold had a direct impact on everything from the value of crops to the stability of the dollar. But to execute their plan, Gould and Fisk needed to prevent the government from releasing its gold reserves, which would increase supply and lower prices. And so began one of the most brazen attempts to manipulate a president in American history. Gould and Fisk began by enlisting the help of Abel Corbin, a businessman and the husband of President Ulysses S. Grant's sister, Virginia Jenny Grant Corbin. Through Corbin, they gained access to the inner circles of power. Picture this: the hero of the Civil War, now president, unwittingly entertaining two of the most unscrupulous financiers of the age at dinner parties. Gould, ever the smooth talker, would bend Grant's ear about the benefits of high gold prices for farmers selling crops abroad. The scheme went beyond mere persuasion. Gould even attempted to bribe officials and manipulate the president himself, hoping to convince Grant to halt the sale of government gold. It was a high-stakes game of influence and deception, played out in the corridors of power in Washington, D.C. As summer turned to fall in 1869, Gould and Fisk bought gold at a feverish pace. The price climbed higher and higher, from $130 to $140, then $150 an ounce. Wall Street was abuzz with speculation. In the hushed corners of exclusive gentlemen's clubs and the raucous trading floors alike, everyone was talking about gold. The market was caught in a frenzy, with other investors jumping in, further inflating the bubble. But not everyone was celebrating. Meet Samuel Shethard, a wheat farmer from Iowa. As gold prices soared, the value of his crop plummeted. "If this continues," he wrote in his diary, "we'll lose the farm that's been in our family for generations." Samuel's story was just one of thousands, as ordinary Americans began to feel the squeeze of Gould and Fisk's machinations. Farmers, merchants, and small business owners across the country watched with growing anxiety as the gold price climbed, threatening their livelihoods. Meanwhile, in the White House, President Grant was growing suspicious. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together in his mind. Reports of unusual market activity, whispers of manipulation, and the persistent efforts of Gould and Fisk to influence policy all began to paint a disturbing picture. On September 22nd, Grant made a decision that would send shockwaves through the financial world. The Treasury would sell gold. The morning of September 24th dawned crisp and clear in New York City. But on Wall Street, a storm was brewing. As news of the government's decision spread, panic set in. The gold price, which had reached a dizzying $162 an ounce, began to plummet. Imagine the scene: the trading floor of the gold room, a cavernous space usually filled with the controlled chaos of trading, descending into utter bedlam. Grown men, titans of finance, were reduced to shouting, weeping, and even fistfights. One witness described it as a hurricane of human passion. Fortunes were wiped out in a matter of hours. Traders who had borrowed heavily to speculate on gold found themselves ruined. The air was thick with desperation and the acrid smell of cigar smoke as men frantically tried to salvage what they could from the wreckage. The stock market tumbled in sympathy, with some stocks losing 50% of their value in a single day. The New York Stock Exchange, the gold market, and the government bond market all crashed. Banks teetered on the edge of collapse as the value of their gold holdings plummeted. International trade ground to a halt as the stability of the dollar was called into question. The ripples of Black Friday spread far beyond Wall Street, touching lives across the nation and around the world. In the days and weeks that followed, the true extent of the damage became clear. Businesses failed by the dozens, unable to meet their obligations or secure credit. Farmers like Samuel Shethard faced ruin as the value of their crops collapsed. The effects rippled through the economy for months, with some regions taking years to fully recover. Yet, amid the chaos, Gould and Fisk managed to slither away largely unscathed. Gould, ever the puppet master, had secretly started selling his gold before the crash, even profiting from the chaos he helped create. Fisk simply refused to honor his debts, protected by his political connections and a labyrinth of legal maneuvers. Their escape from justice only added to the public's outrage and sense of injustice. The aftermath of Black Friday led to congressional investigations and public outcry. The Garfield Committee, named after future President James Garfield, was formed to investigate the crisis. However, its findings, while damning, led to few concrete changes. The scandal exposed the vulnerabilities of the American financial system and the corrupting influence of speculators on government policy. It tarnished the Grant administration, raising questions about corruption and the influence of Wall Street on politics. Grant himself, while not directly implicated in wrongdoing, saw his reputation suffer. The event served as a cautionary tale about the perils of speculative bubbles and the impact of financial machinations on everyday people. The Black Friday gold panic of 1869 led to calls for reform, though meaningful changes would be slow to come. It would take the panic of 1907, almost 4 decades later, to finally spur the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913, providing a mechanism to respond to financial crises. The event also contributed to the growing sentiment that would eventually lead to the establishment of the Securities and Exchange Commission in the 1930s. As we reflect on this financial catastrophe from over 150 years ago, we're confronted with questions that still resonate today. How do we balance the free market with the need to protect the broader economy? What safeguards can prevent a small group of individuals from manipulating markets for personal gain? And how has the relationship between Wall Street and Washington evolved since those Gilded Age days? Consider the parallels to more recent financial crises. The 2008 housing market crash, where complex financial instruments and unchecked speculation once again brought the global economy to its knees, echoes many of the same themes. Or look at the GameStop short squeeze of 2021, where retail investors turned the tables on Wall Street, showing that the game of financial manipulation has only grown more complex with time. Even today, we grapple with issues of market manipulation, the influence of big money on politics, and the challenge of regulating increasingly complex financial systems. The names and methods may have changed, but the fundamental questions remain. How do we create a financial system that drives economic growth while protecting the interests of ordinary citizens? This is American Shadows, where we peer into the darker corners of our nation's past. Until next time, remember that history isn't just a collection of dates and names. It's a living force that shapes our world in ways both seen and unseen. The echoes of that Black Friday in 1869 continue to resonate today, reminding us of the delicate balance between financial innovation and regulation, and the ever-present temptation of greed. As we consider the events of Black Friday 1869, let's reflect on the importance of ethical practices, accountability, and the role of regulation in safeguarding the economy. What safeguards do we have today to prevent similar crises? How can we, as a society, promote transparency and fairness in our financial systems? Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep watching American Shadows. For in understanding our past, we gain insights that can help us navigate the complex landscape of our present and future. What modern-day Goulds and Fisks do you think are out there? How can we, as individuals and as a society, protect ourselves from financial manipulation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspectives add invaluable depth to these discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most tumultuous episodes of American financial history. Until next time, remember, in the world of finance, what glitters isn't always gold.